Good evening, students. So, welcome to our second class on HTML5 for class 8. So, yesterday we have studied about list and list property. We have seen that there are three types of lists in HTML. One is ordered list, second one is unordered list, and the third one was description list or definition list. We have seen that to make a order list in HTML, we use the OL tag, and to make unordered list, we use UL tag, and to define a description or definition list, we use DL tag. Inside that, we define, like in order list and unordered list, we use LI tag to define the items, while in definition list, there are two things. One is definition term, which we define with the help of DT tag, and another one is definition description, which we define with the help of DD tag. Then we have seen the list properties. So in the list properties, we have seen there are mainly four properties. First one was for a list style type. That is, if we are using unordered list, and if you want to display it like this, square or circle. While for the ordered list, it was one or capital A or small Roman or capital Roman. So this was the style tag. Then we have seen list style image, in which we can set some image in place of these symbols. So we have to provide the URL of the image in this property, and with the help of this URL, and inside that we provide the URL of the image, and then this image would be set as list symbol. Then we see the list position, in which we see whether we can put it as inside or outside. So these were the two properties. These two values were there for this property. And the fourth one that we have seen was the list style, which is the combination of all these three properties. And if one of the properties is missing, then the default value would be provided. So this was all that we discussed yesterday. Let's see the today's topic. So today we are going to discuss how we can create the tables in HTML, what are the different attributes that table tag contains, and what are the different attributes of this CD tag. So let's start with today's session. So tables are extremely popular on the web because they are flexible and an attractive way of representing information in the form of rows and columns. So I hope you all know that a table means representing your data in this format, that is in a tabular form. So the horizontal ones, this one are called as rows, and this vertical one, these are called as columns. So sometimes you want to display the information of your students related, like students' marks, roll number, and their name, or you want to display the user information, which contains user's name, email ID, address, phone number. So to represent such information, table is the best form, or you can say the table is the best widget to represent such information, because it provides the information in a crisper way and better look, rather to write it in a paragraph format. So this is the best thing. So in this, you can present your information data in comprehensive manner. You can also make some comparative analysis if you want to make on that data. So it is easier in tabular form. Also, if a user wants to look at the information, then it is easier for him or her to read and quicker to evaluate. So these are some advantages of using the tables. Now let's see what other information we can create, or what are the different things that we can create. So this is the first thing, that is the student information, that is the name of table, you can say. So this name we can provide with the help of caption. So we can provide the caption to our table, and this particular heading we can provide it. As I told you that this vertical ones are called as columns, this horizontal ones, these are called as rows. While in the columns we provide some header just to tell that what is the below information contained. That is, if I don't provide this header, then nobody will be able to identify that what this information is representing. So using this header, it helps you to know that basically the first column will represent the serial number, second one would contain the name, and the last one is displaying the grade of the student. And this particular place where the row and your column is intersecting, it is called as cell. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you. Now let's move to our next slide. So now let's see how we can create table in HTML. So to define a table in HTML, we use the table tag. So table tag comes as a container. That means there would be a opening tag and a closing tag. So this first tag, it will represent that now a HTML table will be inserted. And when this tag will be fine, so it will shows that this table has been ended over here. Then to create the rows, we use the tr tag. So tr basically represent your table row. Then to provide the information on the data, like you want to provide, or you can say to create the column. Now let's say when we use the tr tag, that means this particular row has been created. Now you want to write something, or you want to create the columns like this. So to create this particular space, we use this td tag, which means table data. So in this tag you will write your data that you want to display, and there is another tag which you can say that it is almost similar to this td, only the difference is this th tag represents the heading. So like in the previous slide we have seen, the heading was coming as a bold or in a different format, so that is just because of this th tag. And then the last one is, there is another special tag which is called as caption. So like in the previous example, let's check. So like over here you have seen that for this, if you want to display this caption, then we will use the caption tag. For creating this particular row, so we will use the tr tag. And to create this particular column, if we are representing it as a heading, then we will use the ts tag, and for this data we will use td tag. So this is how we can create our table in HTML. So let's see this example. So here is, I told you yesterday that this is a online tool by which you can create your table easily and in a faster way. So let's remove this unnecessary property and then check what is the output. So you can see that this is a simple table. So over here we have started our table. So this is where we started our table, and this is our first row, that is tr. Now inside that, this is our headings, that is first name, last name and age. So when we have defined them in heading tag, so you can see this information is coming as bold, which is clearly differentiating from the data part. Now this particular row has been completed with the help of this tr. This tr is representing this complete row. Now to create this particular row, that is Jill, Smith and 50, this is the information. So over here we have created another row which contains the first column, that is first name, contains Jill. Second, that is last name is Smith, and the age is 50, and so on. The next another two rows, that is Eve and John, that has been created. So I hope this is clear to you that how we can create a simple table in HTML. Now let's move on to our next thing, that is what are the different attributes that we can use in our HTML table. So let's start with the first one. So first one is the border. That is, just a second. So first attribute is our border. So basically what border does is, border specify the width or thickness of the border of the table. Let's check. So over here you can see as of now there is no such border. This table is just displaying the information, and there is no such lining or the differentiation between the cells. So what we can do is, we can define the attribute border, and then the values that would be provided would be the numerical one. So let's say if I provide the value 1, so and when I run it, you can check now the border is coming as outside this table in each cell. And if I increase this value, so higher the value, thicker the border. So you can check now the border is much thicker, and let's make it a simple one, that is simply 1. And when I run it, so you can check that it is the border of each cell. Clear? So now see the next is border color. So basically border color is, like you can see over here, the default border is coming, which is in you can say a black color, but there are boundaries to the cell and the complete table. So if you want to provide some color, so you can just provide the value of attribute border color. So the best thing of this color is, you can provide value either in hexadecimal code, because in HTML basically hexadecimal code is just nothing, it contains your hash and there is some 6-digit code. So I hope you have studied the number system in digital computer. So a hexadecimal number is combination of 0 to 9 digit and A to F number. So this particular color code would be the combination of these numbers within length of 6. That means I can either define this is a particular color code, so I can define any combination of this particular number. So if you defined over here, so let's first define with the hexadecimal code, that is hash FF03440, and when I run it, so you can check now that it is displaying the color red. So either you can provide the value with the hexadecimal code, or you can simply write red. If you do it and when you run it, so you can check the same color is coming. Let's try with different, so that there is no such confusion whether it is working or not. Let's type blue and then run it, so you can check that blue color is coming. So you can either use this hexadecimal code, or you can simply write the name of the color. So both will work for this property. Now let's see another property, that is frame. So basically what this frame does is, you can see as of now, apart from this cell, there is an outside border for this table. So if you want to manage this outside border, so you can use this frame property. So let's see how it works. So by default the property is box. So if I use the box, so there would be no change. So you can check there is no change, because box is, that is the complete border. Let's use some other properties, like let's use void. So void means there would be no outside border. So if I run it, so you can check only the boundaries to the cell, that is to particular cell, that border is only visible. The outside boundary has been completely made invisible. So if you want to create this different kind of border, so you can provide the different values to this, like we can provide, just a second. So let's say I provide the value above, and when I run it, so you can check only there is a line that is coming at the top of the table, this one. So with this property, you can create such border that if you want to create either on just top or below or only at left hand side or right hand side, so that you can do with the help of this frame property. Now next we have this BG color. So this BG color means background color. So as of now that you were able to see that we have changed the border color. Now if you want to add some background color to the table, so that you can also do with the help of this property, and the same would work. Either you can provide the hexadecimal code or you can provide some the exact name of the color. So when I provide this value, so you can check now my complete table is filled with this color. So this is how you can provide the background color on your table. Then we have another is height and width. So both are kind of similar. That is basically just to provide the height or width to the table. So let's say if I provide the height equals to, so over here also you can provide the values in two types. That is either you can provide it in pixel. So in pixel it would be like something I want to create for 300 or 400, something like that, or you can provide in percentage, that is 20% or 30%. So it's totally up to you. So we can use any of this information. So let's first provide with the in pixel. Let's say we have set it as 300, and when I click it convert, so you can check that height has been increased. Similarly, if you want to provide in percentage, so let's say make it with 30%. So this is would be like this. Okay, let's increase something. Let's say 90%. So basically, on the percentage side, there is no such effect just because the space is already defined. So it would be created like okay, this much of space is already being consumed. So if the text would be smaller, so on base of that we can change it. Like if let's try with this. Okay, as of now it is not taking this percentage down. Might be it could be a server issue of this side, but you can provide either in percentage or in pixel, both of the formats. So both would work. So let's keep it with the pixel only, as this one is taking. And similarly, if I want to provide the width, so let's say the width is equals to, let's say 300, and when I run it, so you can check now the width has already been changed. So you can provide in this either pixel format or you can provide in percentage. Both will work. Then next we have this cell padding. So cell padding is like the content you are writing. Basically, let's say this is the first name. So, and suppose let's see on a larger picture that this is my cell and I have written hello. Okay, now I want to make a common space from the boundary of the cell to this particular text from four sides. So to make this, you can say it as a margin from all, from the boundaries of this cell. So to do this, we use the cell padding. So let's see if I provide over here. So you can check now the difference is this each column is coming as a same and the text is with a fixed boundary from all the four sides, that is 25 pixel from each of the corners. That's why it increase the width of the text. Let's see before this property. So the table was looking like this, but when we put this property, so because of the cell padding, it has increased the size of this table just because minimum space is now 25 pixels for this particular text. Clear? So another property is cell spacing. So cell spacing is nothing. Now it is same as like cell padding, only the difference is now the space would be between these two cells. So let's say this is our first cell, this is our second cell, then below it there is third cell, then we have fourth cell. So this particular space is known as cell spacing, that is between the cells. So we can set this property with the help of cell spacing. Let's now just look at the this output. As of now, the space is very less between the cells. Now I put the value cell spacing as 10, and now you can check that the space in each cell is now common and it is increased in comparison to others. You can check that this space is coming between each cell. So this is how you can set the space between your cells with the help of cell spacing. While if you want to create a space within the cell for the text, then you can use your cell pad. Clear? I hope these two properties are clear to you, which is quite little bit complex, but not that much. Once you start working on this, so you will easily get under. So now let's just keep only the border, and let's remove all these properties that we have used. Keep it a simple one, and so I hope all these properties are clear to you. So let me just repeat one more time. So we can use this. So the border is used. Basically, this border is used to create the outside line. Border color is used to provide the color to the border. Frame is used to create the outside border of the table in a different shape. Like if you want to present on top or just below or at the left side, so that you can do with the help of this frame. BG color is like if you want to fill your table with different colors, so all the cells will be filled with this BG color property. You can set height and width of your table. Cell padding is the space between the content inside the cell. That is the margin, you can say that it will left for the all the boundaries. That would be your cell padding, and the cell spacing would be the space between the two different cells. So cell padding is like between the boundaries and the content of a cell, while cell spacing is between two different cells. The space that is between two different cells. Now see some of the properties that we have in our TD tag, that is table data tag. So first one is align. That is if you want to align the text in your this table tag, then you can do. Let's increase some space. That will help us to understand whether it's working or not. Let's define the table width as 300. So by default, it will provide the size to the column based on the content. You can set that also, but there are some size cases so that we can do. So now let's use for this one th, and then let's say align equal to left. So you can check. I have set the property for aligning the text in the first heading only, and my first name is coming at the left hand side, while in the other two columns it is coming in center. So to align your text in a particular column, you can use this property. So you can check now all the text in that this particular text is aligned to the left. So by default, if you are using the table heading, then the cell text would be aligned to the center. While if you are using the TD tag, like you have seen that in the TD tag, it is already aligned to the left in all the TD. While in the table heading, it was default aligned to the center. So this is this also can be checked. Let's say in the TD, if I want to align it to the center, so let's align equal to center and then minus. So you can check now my gel is coming in center. So this is how you can align your text. Then we have height and width. So it is similar like we have seen in the table text. So it is similar to that. You can set the height and width same in either in a percentage or in a width format. So let's let's say if I provide over here that weight equal to 30%. So you can check the width has been decreased from the earlier one. So the reason on the table tag it was not working because we haven't set any height and width in the body tag. Basically, that percentage is worked in comparison to its container tag. If we have put this table tag in some other division or either in some paragraph or somewhere else that is in a container tag, then it will take that percentage in comparison. Like suppose there is a paragraph, so obviously this paragraph would be in a particular width. So let's say if width is 1000 pixels. Okay. Now if I set the and inside this paragraph we have defined this table, then we can provide the width in percentage, because based on that it will set the width of this table in a percentage. So in this example there is no container tag for the table, that's why it is not taking the percentage width for the table. While for a TD tag we have a container that is table, that is for this particular TD tag the container tag is table because it is inside this table. So that's why now the percentage is being set in the the width has been set in percentage format as well in a 30%. Here, so similarly to the previous one, you can also set the width in a pixel format, like we have set in a table. And now the next one is row span. So basically, row span is like, as the name says, row span. That means you want to this particular cell, or you want to increase the area of the cell to the rows. So let's say suppose that Zil and A both have the same age, let's say 50, and rather to display it twice we want to display it as one. So what we can do is we can provide a row span for this particular row, for this particular cell, and then we can rather to write it twice, we can write it just one time. So how we can do it? So we want to increase this particular column because we want to display this 50 for this two particular rows. So what we can do is we can provide row span attribute over here as row span, and then we can provide the value as 2 because we want to span it to the 2 row. And in that case we have to remove this particular tag, because what will happen if I don't do it like this? Let's run it. So you can see that the table structure has been distorted. Now you can see that 94 is coming outside of this, and it has created an extra space for this. What is this reason? I'll explain you. But let's first let's make it correct. So for that we have to remove this tag, this one, and if I run it, now my table is in good shape. So what was the reason behind that? So the reason was basically when you do a row span 2, that means let's say this is a table, okay, and there are, let's say, 3 rows. So this means this we have put it in our third column. That means this is your first, second, and this one is third column. That means the third column of first row, it will take 2 rows to come. So when we didn't remove the column from here, that means on the second row we got 4 columns. That's why the table was coming like this. So once we have removed that, that means this extra column has been removed. So that's why it took the space of these 2 columns, and we got it as 50 over here, and the third one was similar to it. Let's say if I want to show it in all the 3 columns, that means if all these 3 people have the same age, so what I have to do is I have to simply remove this cell, and I have to provide the value 3 in place of 2. And if I run it, so you can check that 50 is coming for all the 3. So that helps you to repeat your information, and you can just provide on a single space. Okay, so I hope this one is clear to you. Now the next property is wall span. So it is similar to this row span, only the difference is now it will combine these two columns. That means it will now use for this combination of this column. Let's say rather to keep it on a first name or last name, I want to keep it as only name, and then inside that I want to display in two columns. So what I can do is I can go to my heading like over the here th, and I can use call span, and I can provide the value as 2. Okay, and rather to keep it this last name, I don't want it, and simply I want to use it as name. Okay, and when I run it, so you can check the table structure is good, and these two columns, that is the first name and last name has been good, and it has been combined to a single column with the name, and now the complete other table is coming in the same. So I hope this raw span and call span is clear to you. So name simply tells you about that. That if you are using the raw span, that means you are merging the rows. That means let me redraw it again. That means let's say this is our table default one, which has 4 columns, 1, 2 and 3 rows. So when we want to combine these 2 rows, then we will use row span. You can use in any of the column. I have used in the last one. You can use either over here, or for this particular row. It's totally up to your choice. So when we are doing for row, means merging of rows, we will use row span, and when we are using for merging of columns, then we will use call span. Clear? And at the last we have this V-align property, which means if you want to align your text vertically, so the align is aligning our text horizontally. Now let's to understand this, let's first increase its height. Let's say height equal to 100. So as of now my name is coming in center, and let's say I want to show it on top. So by default, I told you in the heading it will show in center, that is middle position. And if I want to show it on top, so I will provide the value top, and then when I run it, so you can check the name is shifted to the top position. So this is how you can align your text vertically. That is, if you use this V-align property, so it will align your text either at the top or at the center or at the bottom. While if you use simply align property, then it will set your text either left, center or right. So you can set your text in any of the position with the help of align or V-align property. Here students, so that's all for today. I hope today's session was interesting for you, as we have seen multiple attributes of table tag and multiple attributes of TD tag, which really helps to manage our tables and to represent our data in an intuitive way and in an expressive way. So that's all for today. Keep learning and keep looking to your Learn Forward app. In case of any query or questions, you can post it over there and we will answer to you. And let's wait for our next class. Hope to see you all in our next class. Thank you guys. Thank you for the being with us. Thank you everyone.